Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of No Filters. My name is Harry T. I'm the editor of Love Matters Niger, and I'm here with a very fantastic panel. And we are going to be discussing love and sex in the time of COVID-19. So without much further ado, I would like my guests to introduce themselves. I'll start with the lady in the house. Hello, Emem.
Hi, Harry. My name is Emem Email Koche. I'm a broadcast journalist, head partner, Rewired Africa Media, Rewired Africa Network. Sorry, yeah, but yeah, media basically. And so I'm me, and I'm here, and I'm hoping that we're gonna have an interesting conversation.
I'm hoping the same too. Check.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akintayo Olusegun. I'm a software developer and I also volunteer for the African Union.
Nice to meet you, Shego. Nice to connect with you guys. So we're just going to go straight to the conversation. The conversation is love and sex and the time of COVID-19. Now, COVID-19 has come and has changed how we do things, how our experiences, how we live life and all this good stuff. So I want to ask, first of all, how has COVID-19 impacted your love life? Just give me a bit of an overview before we dive into the conversation. How has it affected your life?
Do you want me to go, or do you want?
Yeah, you can go, Emily, you can go first. Yeah.
Okay. Has COVID in fact impacted my love life? Well, I am married, and I have 2 kids. And truth be told, if I'm going to be honest, it hasn't had any negative impact, in my relationship. Um, what's most important is, keeping, you know, the safety guidelines, which is making sure that your hands are properly clean. You of course you can't wear face masks in the house, um, but making sure that your environment is clean, the house is clean, you are clean, and just keeping an all-round, healthy hygiene, basically. So far, no, it didn't have any negative impact in my love life. We're good. We were good, and we're still good.
Interesting stuff. Check.
So I'll go with him on this because I'm also married, but I travel a lot for my volunteer work, and I remember that I came back into Nigeria on the 22nd of March, the day that the lockdown started. And I had to quarantine for 2 weeks, self-quarantine in the house for 2 weeks. I think for me, that's just the weird part of family life. I mean, you're in the house, but you can't touch the kid. The kid wants to touch you. She doesn't understand. She's 5. She doesn't understand. Why can't I touch daddy? I mean, so after that 2 weeks passed and I am good, everything seems to go back to normal, like they were. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll go with him on this, that he's really not had any negative impact.
What's interesting is the fact that it's a pandemic doesn't mean that people's emotions are going to stop, right? People are still going to want to be in love and want to connect people. People are still in that, space of wanting some form of human connection, right? And people that have been single for 4 years and they believe that this year is their year. And all of a sudden now there's a pandemic and we're supposed to social distance. You understand? Can we just talk about what would you tell someone who is single, who's trying to navigate this pandemic and finding love? Do you have any advice? I mean, both of you are married, so you should have like wealth of advice that you can draw from.
Okay, I'll allow Shegun to take this one.
Well, I'm not sure if I have not been in the dating pool for almost 10 years, so I'm not sure if any advice I'm going to give will be up to date. But what I can say is that as a single person, I read a poem written by a guy towards the end of June. And basically, the guy was just saying that before the pandemic, he thought that he had time to spend with his loved ones. But due to the pandemic, he realized that there's no time. And therefore, what he's going to do after the pandemic is to go for that travel they've been planning, go for that holiday they've been planning, go eat at that fancy restaurant they wanted to go, or they wanted to go, go jump in the ocean that they've always wanted to go. I mean, so basically just saying, post the pandemic, you should be more proactive and take the bull by the horn, basically. If you want something, go for it. Because we really don't have time. This pandemic just shows that we really don't have time. And so you should do whatever you need to do, whatever you want to do, and don't waste a single second after the pandemic.
That's very interesting. I want to talk to you, Emem, about just the fact that there is a need, and I know we have questions from our audience. I want to just add here, so everyone watches watching us on Facebook right now. Sorry, we are not live. We're not as live as we would have wanted because of network issues. Something between Zoom and Facebook. You know, there was like a mess up there, so we can't take your questions live. But the questions that you had asked yesterday, we're going to go through them today. Also, if you have any more questions as we keep having this conversation as you're watching, just drop them in the comment box and our moderators will get to it and answer all your questions. So sex is a very very integral part of just of everybody. Sex is very important when it comes to people and just and how young people now want to express themselves with sex. So I'm curious to know if you have any advice for young people who should they be abstinent during this period? Are there safe ways for people to have sex during the pandemic?
Okay, so the question I should ask is, okay, so first of all, I'm going to say, I'm going to go with Segun. I'm going to agree with Segun when he said that, yes, this pandemic has brought a lot of uncertainties. And even though we don't have as many cases as there are in other countries, the fear of the fact that there are even people who are asymptomatic, who have this virus and it doesn't show, is mind-boggling. You understand? So imagine not knowing that your partner could likely have the virus, but he has it, and he doesn't even know that he has it, or she doesn't know that she has it. And the most worrisome part of it all is even research has not even been able to scientifically prove if this virus it can be sexually transmitted or not.
Yeah.
Do you understand? They're not saying that, oh yeah, it can be, transferred or it can be passed through your sperm or, that body fluid that is exchanged during intercourse. No. So there is still that, should I or should I not? What if? You just never know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So, I don't even know. I'm just going to advise that, I have friends who are single and who I know a love relationship, and it was a very somewhat confusing time for them. I know I have friends who basically, they're not in a relationship, but they have like friends and they were completely isolated, not because they have the virus, but because they were trying to avoid human contact as much as possible. think what's most important here is I think what's most important here is just making sure that whoever you're in a relationship with is practicing safe hygiene, is, taking all the necessary precautions. You have to be sure. You even have to look out for them, because you are also protecting yourself as well. You just never know. It's not until there is a sexual intercourse before you can contract this, virus. So you just need to be careful and just really make sure that your partner is also very careful. And I mean, anytime my husband gets back, I'm like, okay, you know what? Go straight to the dishwasher, wash your hands. Go straight to the sink and wash your hands. Make sure you don't touch anything. Even there are times where I'm like, when whoever goes to open the gate for him, I tell them, oh yeah, take the hand sanitizer. Oh well, there's always a hand sanitizer, and I'm like, oh yeah, take the hand wash. Meet him outside. Make sure he washes his hands before he comes in. So you need to just make sure that you have you're taking those precautions, and you're sticking to them. I mean, you just never know. You just never know, and you can't be too careful. You can't be too careful as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You cannot be too careful when it comes to these things. And it's also very important that we can't say people should not have sex or do not have sexual intercourse, right? But however, whatever you're going to do, in as much as generally speaking, we advocate having safe sex. Now you have to not just wearing a condom or using a pill, but
Yeah.
also washing your hands, taking a shower, making sure that as you go out, you're coming back in there and washing up everything completely.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we're going to go straight to the questions that I was asked on our Facebook page yesterday. Like I said earlier on, apologies that we're not live. I feel like I have to repeat this over and over again. I know you're used to us coming to you every Friday, so like for live on Facebook. There was a bit of a technical difficulty and we had to re-record. So apologies again, but thankfully you reached out to us and asked us your questions beforehand, and so we'll get to them right now, right? So our first question right now is from Rie Toron Nariga. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name well. It's asking, what is the relationship of relation and sex starting before marriage? And is it possible that COVID-19 has affected positively on love and sex between couples? So I think he's trying to say, okay, um, religion and sex before marriage. So that's something that doesn't really go hand in hand. Is COVID-19 affecting it positively in quotes? Does anybody want to respond to the
Okay. As someone that grew up in a very religious background, um, based on the Christian values, you are actually not supposed to have sex before marriage. So that is the relationship between religion and sex before marriage. According to the Christian, if you are someone that is religious and you're struggling with this, I think that is just it. The Bible has been very clear about that. That's no sex for marriage. But if you are not religious and you subscribe to a more secular school of thought, you will hear in many circles that going into marriage before having sexual intercourse with your partner could lead to so many problems down the line. Could for a woman, for instance, the man could be too big, and there's been instances in marriages where the wife just couldn't have sex with the husband because it was just too big for her. There could be issues where there could be fertility issues. Some people prefer to get that sorted before they get into marriage. Maybe if one of them is not fertile or something, do check and all those things. So I would say that there are advantages on both sides. depending on which school of thought you subscribe to. Um, but I mean, the best thing, again, like Emem said, is to be safe during this COVID-19 period. Practice every safety guidelines that have been released by the health organizations, and you should be fine. I mean, there's this thing called the ABC of safe sex: abstinence, be faithful to a faithful partner, use a condom, and I think it also is very relevant right now. Just make sure you're practicing safe sex. Make sure you're practicing. Should be fine. To be honest, it should be fine.
Okay. Okay. We have a question that's connected to this question. It's from S1E Mary. She's asking, sex has been causing a lot of breakups in many relationships today. Why is it so? And then do you feel like people should be breaking up with their partners because they can't have sex during a pandemic?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So Emily Mary is saying that not having sex has been causing a lot. Let me take it again. Emily Mary is saying not having sex has been causing a lot of breakups in many relationships today. Why is it so? And due to the pandemic, a lot of people are not having sex and relationships are breaking up. Why is that happening? Let me rephrase it for conversation purposes. What advice do you give someone who is in a relationship with somebody and they're having issues because they can't have sex right now in the middle of this COVID-19 crisis?
I think that partner is being selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's just how I'm going to put it. I mean, hello, whoever that is, whoever your partner is, are you open to the realities
Yeah.
that we're living with and in? Where is your self-control? Like, I do not understand.
But I feel like another school of thought might be the fact that okay, this is our new reality now, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think so. It's normal that I'm not saying that you should. I mean, very much that I'm not one of those people who I don't advocate. I'm not an advocate for. I believe that people should have premarital sex because I feel that it's important that you get to know your partner if you're sure that this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And so, on that note, I believe that if you're in that sort of relationship, that time will come. But you need to adjust with the times. We all need to adjust with the times. Adjust to the new norm. This has become our norm, and the truth is, it is not going anywhere. It is going to be like this for a really long time. So, compromise. You should get to that place of compromise in that relationship where, it's not it has to be like this. If it's not like this, so, come on. We all need to, have an open mind about, our new realities. We need to be more understanding. We need to be more understanding of each other's needs. And then you find a way to meet each other halfway, considering the times. So please have a discussion with your partner, about this. It's possible that, they could have their reasons why. So try and understand first. Have this discussion, because I always say that communication is key. So have this discussion first. Then you now decide if, you find new ways, to, make this relationship work in a way that, it makes both of you happy at the end of the day. But have that discussion.
Very important. Communication is very key when it comes to these conversations. Talk to your partner and let them understand where you're coming from also, and your fears. If you're not comfortable with having sex during a pandemic, let them know, okay, I'm not comfortable. You get that kind of thing. We have a question from Chigozie Joseph Ichimasu. What advice can you give for a long distance relationship that can stay for a year without seeing the other partner? Are there other ways of enhancing the group? Any tip for this is essential, especially in the face of COVID-19 wahala? Yes, she goes, yeah. This is a lot of questions that I think is very common, especially when um, you can't travel, whether it's across states or across countries or continents even. So I think it's the basic long distance relationship tips. Shegun, do you have any for Chigozie?
Um, I've only been in a LDR once, and it didn't end well. So I'm a bit on the skeptical side about.
Shegun?
If you're not getting that.
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay, so I was saying that I believe that humans are built for connections, and if you are not getting that connection from your partner, you are definitely going to be getting it from somewhere else. And this is my very, very big worry with long distance relationships. Sometimes that need for another human touch is always going to be there. And when, you know, if it is something that you both partners agree with, and you've been practicing it for some time, then it is fine. But in the realities of COVID-19, um, it's going to be very tough if this is not something you've been doing before. Maybe the partner lives in another city, you live in another city, and the lockdown has been for 5 months and counting, and you couldn't see each other. There are things I think you could do to keep that communication gap open. Video calls, for instance, is a very, very good tool to use to at least keep that communication gap closed. Um, you could also try some of these things they have online now, where you can have a Netflix party where the two of you are watching the same movie on Netflix. I think it's on Google Chrome, where both of you are watching the same movie on Netflix, and you connect your headset and you can talk while the movie is going on. You guys can listen to each other. So these are the kind of, I mean, some of these things are some things that you have to improvise so that that communication gap will not be closed. Because once that communication gap is closed, it's very, very probable that some other person will fill in that gap. So just make sure that there is constant communication. If you don't text often before, make it now an habit to text often. If you usually call once a day, maybe increase it to 2 times or 3 times, and like that.
Emem, do you want to add anything to what Shegun has said?
Well, so yes, I agree with what Shegun said, because I mean I was hoping that he was going to go there, and he actually did. So yes, we're thankful for tools, for apps like FaceTime, Zoom, Skype. There are so many apps these days that you can use in video calling each other, even WhatsApp. So I don't feel that I don't feel that long distance should be a barrier, you know, to having that connection, even though it's not physical. But to some extent, these apps can help you both, connect with each other as much as possible. And I also feel that in this kind of situation, you should not be shy. A lot of people really do not understand, phone sex or how it works. But luckily for you, you have information online. You can always go online and get that information. How do you, make your partner feel feel alive? How do you, awaken that, relationship? How do you make it, how do you spice it up, especially in these times where you cannot see each other? So there's so much information online. Go online and get that information. If you have to invest in sex toys, while you're having your video call, and while that erotic, whatever is going on, go ahead. I feel like it's not a time to hold back. It's a time to let it all out and explore as much as you can. Be adventurous, in your communication, trying to build that connection with your partner. It's very important.
Yeah, and thankfully on Love Matters Nigeria, on our website, we have resources on how you can deal with long distance relationships. We have resources on the kind of sex stories to buy. If you're trying to get sex toys, what kind of stuff should you look out for? We have those resources also. Just about how to pleasure your body and find your sexuality and everything. So yeah, very, 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 very good point there. And there's a very, very interesting comment from Emmanuel today. He says, I'm in a relationship, but she has not showed me, she has not come to me, she hasn't sat on my lap, and if I tell her that I want to hug her, she will not answer. Oh boy, is worried. He hasn't like physical touch. For people who their love languages are like physical touch, I'm sure they're going through a lot right now. But I think we've touched on that when you said speak to the person, have communication, and let them know what's up and everything. We still have another question. This is from Esther Chizoba. Due to COVID-19, can we say there can be a successful relationship without sex? Did we hear that?
Is she asking if there can be a successful relationship without sex?
Yes, that's what she's asking.
Of course, yes. There can be a successful relationship without sex, especially if you're in a relationship with an adult.
Yes.
And some mature,
Mm.
not someone whose hormones are raging all over the place and who's just looking for a means to satisfy or satisfy their sexual urge. It still
Okay.
goes back to communication. And yes, there are ways that you could engage in foreplay. There are ways you can, if you have to, there's
But
ways.
Evan, just give me a minute because this next question is related to your question, what you're about to say. And I don't want you to go on the other to ask it first. It's not ambition. And maybe Shegun can also, because you both are married, so you people can give a better answer to this question. Bishop Citroen Roman Curry, I'm so sorry that one. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He's asking, what are the procedures should I do? What procedure should I take and follow to prevent myself from COVID-19 during sex?
Sorry,
So,
say that again.
what procedures should I take and follow to prevent myself from getting COVID-19 during sex? So this one he's asking a very honest question now that I want to have sex. I need to have sex. Just tell me what can I do so that I can have it effectively and not get coronavirus.
Well, does Shega want to go with this one?
Yeah, I think we already mentioned quite a few things you
Yeah.
could do. Practice very, very safe hygiene and make sure that your partner is also practicing safe hygiene. That is the best protection against COVID-19. If both of you don't have it, then you can't catch it. It's as simple as that. So that is it. Just make sure that your hygiene is top notch. When you go out and come back in, you wash your hands. If you're wearing a shoe, you take off the shoe outside. Um, uh, Read up on the modes of transmission of the coronavirus and make sure that there are things called formats. I don't know if that's a word. When you touch the handle of the door, you wash your hand. When you go out, you practice safe distance, safe social distancing. So you do all these things. Just make sure as you're doing it, the person you're with is also doing it. Because if you are practicing safe hygiene and the person you are going to have sex with is not, then the purpose is defeated. So if you're practicing it, make sure that your partner is also practicing it. I mean, it comes down again to the ABC of sex. Abstinence is the best protection. You don't have sex, you can't catch anything. If you have to have
Yeah,
sex, then be faithful to a faithful partner.
I
So
was
and that's
going to
where
say just that, because that person, I don't know if it's a female or a male, that person must definitely be in a relationship with different partners and is very
yeah,
worried. So this is not a time to be in a relationship with different partners. This is a
with different
time to
partners.
just stick to one person for your own safety, because you cannot guarantee that every other person that you're in a relationship with is taking precaution. This thing is not a joke. Oh, you people think it is a joke. It is not a joke. People are dying as a result of this thing. Don't even, it's not a joke. And worse off, because the isolation centers are getting filled up, you don't even get the primary care that you need if you get this virus. So you need to take precautions on all level. You need to cut down on multiple sexual partners. This is not time to be having 100 people to be having sex with. You cut it down. You stream it. You stream and cut it. You cut it. It's the same sexual experience. And even if you cannot have the same sexual experience with just one person, you communicate on how to, satisfy each other sexually. But it's not time to be having multiple sexual partners, please.
Yeah. Our time is slowly running out. I want to ask a final question to both of you. What are the ways that you keep your love alive during the pandemic? What are things you can do? What are things you can say? What are some of the, give us like tips, on how we can keep our love alive through this pandemic and keep it burning and keep it fresh. Because we can't go on movie dates. We can't go on restaurant dates as like basically all we have is our house, now and the office. So in what ways can we keep our love alive through the pandemic?
Do you want me to take that?
Yes, both of you we can answer. Yeah, but you can start this.
So you have to be creative. You have to be innovative at times like this. I think what I have been doing is, since we can't go to a restaurant or anything, sometimes we walk in, buy the food, and then we sit in the car, drive around some nice locations, like quiet locations, and eat in the car. And before you do this, 1 hour has passed and you're back home. Sometimes we also drive towards the beach, put the laptop on the dashboard, and watch a movie in the car. So it's you have to be very innovative with what you do and how you do them, because myself and my wife, we love to dine and we love to watch movies, and we can't do any of those. So we had to improvise and say, look, we can still dine and we can still watch movies. It's just that you are not going to cinema and you're not going to an eatery, so to say. So different locations. Sometimes you drive to different locations, sit in the car, eat your food. Nobody's going to come harass you. Drive to a very safe location, put your laptop on the dashboard, watch a movie. And even when you're in the house, you could go on Google and search for games you can play in the house. So there's this games that is perfect for couples to play in their house. You could do that. You could also both pick up a hobby like painting, for instance. So both of you could decide to say, okay, let's start painting. Let's start gardening. I mean, at least that helps you to go outside and get some fresh air as well. So you really need to know what you and your partner like to do and be very innovative about how you go about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Segun. MM, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, yeah, Shagun has said most of it basically, and you could also plan date nights at home. Cook something special. Have your own private dinner dates, just you and hobby.
Mhm.
Yeah, you could lock yourselves in the room, keep the kids out, keep them with their nannies, and just, prepare something nice. Let the bed be your dining area. You spread whatever on it, have, varieties of, meals that you could, because it was, I mean, the lockdown was a time to explore, learn how to cook, learn how to, this, funny enough, a lot of couples discovered so many things about their partners during the lockdown.
Mm.
For some, it rejuvenated their relationship. For some, it had a negative effect on their relationship. But it was a time to, do all the things that you want to do with your partner. Communicate. Talk about, something that, he did, the ways that you can make the relationship better. It's just a time where you spend more of, most of your time together, talking, sharing, reminding each other of, old times, and like Shegun also said, we thank God for Netflix. Netflix was just I mean, it's it was perfect timing. I mean, everyone was, I mean, there's Netflix to go and binge and watch as many romantic movies as possible. There were also, even on Twitter, I saw, there was this movie back then, room 98 or something, room 76, a movie, and I saw comments about, couples who watched the movie during the lockdown and how it made them cry, how, it brought out so much. I mean, movie dates, dinner dates, create those beautiful moments together by yourself.
Mm.
So because there's a pandemic doesn't mean that what you now would just
You haven't
cut
lost
down on
it,
everything. I mean, you now be tying wrapper up and down. I mean, it's a time to, and if it was even a time for a lot of women to get back into shape. I know women who were exercising, who took out time to burn those carbs, go on a weight loss, just to, it was a time for there was a lot of, dynamics that happened during the lockdown, and a lot of people, used it to their advantage. So, you could work out together with hobby, just create those special moments together, really. There's so many things you can do together, so many. So, and then there were also restaurants where you can order online um, from, or if you don't even have the monies to spend out, you create those moments at home. Cook
Mm.
something special. Cook your husband's favorite meal, or you could try something new that none of you have tried out before. But there's so much information, so much information online. So use it to your advantage. Don't use it and use it to go on Instagram, and then you're checking up on people's lives and what they are doing, while yours is just stock stock up. So use it to your advantage. So there's so many things that you can do, and yeah, because there's a pandemic doesn't mean that your life ends or you just stop doing interesting things. Create those moments.
Uh, yeah, thank you so much, MM and Jacob. This has been a great conversation. I know we plan to go live initially, like I said earlier on, but some of these things you cannot predict. So if you're watching on Facebook now, apologies. And your question will definitely be answered in the inbox by our moderators. Thank you again, MM. If people want to reach you, how can they find you on social media?
Okay, so on Instagram these days I can't even remember my Instagram account, but you can just check me on at you can follow me at Emem. Yes, just type in Emem. I'm sure I'm going to pop up somewhere, and on Twitter mm_ime. Yeah, mm_ime or mm_ime_. I can't really remember, but just type in Emem and I'm just going to pop up. Yeah.
Okay, and Shego, how can we find you on social media?
On Twitter and on Instagram, I'm at Soft Art Guy.
Soft hard guy. What's the spirit behind to be soft hard?
Software, hardware.
Oh, oh, nice. So check me as some kind guy on across the social media platforms. Thank you so much, very much. So my guests, you can find us on Twitter at Love Matters NG. Instagram is Love Matters Nigeria underscore. And obviously on Facebook, we're on YouTube. This video will also go on YouTube, so you can actually watch and share with your friends and loved ones. Thank you so much. I'm Harriet here. I will see you next week. Bye bye.